What's going on, everyone? Data Report here for datareport.info with the Saturday weather discussion. Today is Saturday, February 25th, 2023. We still have our powerful system coming on the west coast here in California, providing blizzard conditions in the mountains. Flooding rains in Los Angeles. Believe it or not, the Los Angeles River is actually filled with water and flowing today because there has been so much rain. This system is going to continue east and tomorrow provide severe weather for portions of northern Texas on up into Oklahoma, Arkansas, and even portions of Kansas. Taking a look at the national hazards map, as you can see, the west coast is still getting hammered by winter weather. The mountains of California continue to have blizzard warnings where multiple feet of snow are expected. Taking a look down here in Texas and in New Mexico and Oklahoma, and even portions of Colorado, there are high wind warnings up and wind advisories ahead of this system. Taking a look at the Storm Prediction Center, check this out. Remember yesterday we were talking about the severe weather expected on Sunday in Oklahoma and portions of Texas? Well, within that, a moderate risk has now been added. In fact, 259,000 people are now in the moderate risk area. The enhanced risk area, you have 3.3 million people. The slight risk area, you have 5.8 million people. And the lesser marginal risk, you have 9.4 million people within it. There is about a 5% chance within a 25-mile radius of a tornado. Tornadoes are not the biggest threat for tomorrow. The biggest threat is wind. Check this out. There is now a 45% area for wind in portions of Oklahoma, and anywhere in that could see damaging winds with damage possible. There is also a hatched area now for wind, and anywhere within the hatched area, wind damage is likely. Taking a look at hail. Hail is a smaller threat, but any of the initial supercells that get going along the dry line could produce hail, and that's also where the tornado threat is. And speaking of that, the experimental model, which is called NATOcast, I like to look at it. It did do very well for eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey last week. That's actually showing a 10% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a point. So that's something we'll have to watch closely. And that actually extends it back into portions of Texas, which is southwest of the SPC's moderate risk area. As you saw with the moderate risk area, that does not go into Texas. But this NATOcast model is suggesting Texas could get in on the more severe storms. Taking a look at the HRR simulated radar, as you can see here, the storms initiate tomorrow evening in northern Texas and portions of Oklahoma. This then continues east and quickly congeals into a squall line. And anywhere you see these little purple dots, you could be talking 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts, maybe even isolated 90 mile per hour wind gusts within the line. And those clusters of storms that pop within the line, those are the ones that are likely to cause the wind damage. And that's why there is a moderate risk for wind tomorrow, just because the threat is so great. As this further goes east, straight line winds is the main threat. But again, when it initiates, there could be an isolated tornado or two. Anywho, as this continues east, the threat continues, but it's not as great as it is where the moderate risk area is. And once you get into Arkansas and Missouri, yes, there is still the threat of severe winds, but it significantly starts to diminish. And this model shows that the squall line actually will continue into Illinois. At that point, I don't think it's going to be severe anymore, but we do have to watch. It could get going again on Monday morning or Monday afternoon, as the SPC does have a slight risk of severe weather for portions of Ohio, Kentucky, and southeast Indiana. Alright, taking a look at the NAM model. The NAM model also shows the severe weather threat for tomorrow. Beyond this point, we do watch for wintry weather in portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Then all eyes turn to the northeast. There's been a change in the model guidance today. Remember yesterday we were talking about a measurable snow event in the northeast? That's still going to happen. I was talking about maybe amounts of 6 to 10 inches. That may be a little bit overdone now, and also the system has actually shifted south on the modeling today a little bit. So we now have to watch for mixed precipitation and wintry weather into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Even New York City may see some snow now out of the system. We're not talking about a blockbuster system. It doesn't really get its act together until it goes out to sea, and you have no high pressure to the northwest. So this is just a general, I guess you could call it overrunning, just a general window between any time of Monday night into Tuesday morning. And you could even have lingering snow into Tuesday afternoon in portions of Maine. And this model shows here that there is some sleet in Pennsylvania, then snow in New Jersey and New York, and the similar findings on other models now. The most south model, which we're going to take a look at now, is the European model. And it was one of the first models to pick this up. Its ensembles were more south than the operational. And look what happens here. It even has mixed precipitation on Monday evening in areas like Philadelphia, Harrisburg. And look at this. It actually shows some light to moderate snow over New York City. So we'll have to watch now. It's possible New York City sees accumulating snow before it ends as a mix. And here's the area of low pressure that forms off the New Jersey coast. You also have another primary low, or the initial low, up here in Canada. So we're not talking a real organized system. This is a really disorganized mess. But the threat is there for wintry precipitation Monday night. And now here's Tuesday. As you can see, the snow lingers in portions of Maine. So what we're talking here is from anywhere in New England, you're looking at 3 to 6 inches of snow. Places like Philadelphia, Allentown, the Lehigh Valley, into New York City, we'll just have to watch. There could definitely be a couple inches of snow now, and maybe a period of sleet or some freezing rain before the system ends. Behind us, we have to watch for another system late week. Check this out. Now, model guidance, I will tell you with this one, is all over the place. First off, here's the European. It shows a classic Miller A system coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. It encounters some warm air. We do have a weak area of high pressure to the north of it, and look what happens. You get a 985 millibar low over North Carolina, which then transfers to the coast, and you do get snow and ice, or snow and sleet from Washington, D.C. on up to New York City. Philadelphia, you're pretty much all snow with this on the European. And then it goes out to sea afterwards, which the European is showing a classic 6 to 12 type snow event for Philadelphia and South Jersey. But then you have the GFS model, which put out this. And here's the GFS model. Back up for a second. Here's what the GFS model is showing for earlier in the week. It is slightly more north, but it does show some heavier snow in New York State. It's actually showing 4 to 8 inches of snow for portions of New York State and Maine. Then here comes the next system. So you have an initial cold front that comes through, which sets up the train tracks for this next system. Look how much further northwest the GFS is. Actually has a 978 millibar low over portions of Kentucky and the Ohio Valley, and this is showing a major snowstorm for Detroit, portions of Ohio, and western New York State. So the system on the GFS is about 50 to 75 miles northwest of the European, and therefore this is all rain for the I-95 corridor. Even as the low just continues, the low actually goes directly over Boston on the GFS. Then let's take a look at the CMC model for this event. Here you go with the cold front, and there's actually another system ahead of it on the CMC, which produces some rain for New England. Then you have the system that we're tracking for late week, and look where it goes. On the Canadian, it actually slides out to sea, and North Carolina gets a little bit of snow, as does Virginia, but look how much further southeast it is compared to the European model. Here's the European model, here's the Canadian model, then you have the GFS model. And let's get that back up here. So you have 3 different solutions. Will it cut over the Ohio Valley? Will it come across the I-95 corridor and provide a snowstorm, or will it track out to sea? It's only Saturday. We're talking late next week. We got all week to iron this out. Our main concern to watch is the Monday night into Tuesday system. I think we are going to see a couple inches of snow in New York City now, should the south trend continue. Does Philadelphia see snow? That remains a question. If you're in New England, look for about 4 to 8 inches of 3 to 6 to 4 to 8 inches of snow with the Monday night system. Alrighty, thanks for watching this video. We'll have another weather update again tomorrow. And if you like the content I do on my channel, hit the like and subscribe button down below. Alrighty, thanks for watching. See you again next time. Stay safe, everyone.